Hi, welcome to Nona's Here. I'm Nona, and happy 4th of July. Today I'm joining in 5 DIYs for $5. I really like doing this collaboration, and the theme for this month is decoupage. I like doing decoupage, not that I'm very good at it, but I still like doing it. So I want to introduce our hosts a little later on, but I want to show you what I've been working on. Now, if you haven't subscribed to Nona's Here, now's a perfect time to do it. Just hit that subscribe button. It's free. Then hit the bell and the word all so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Also, I hope you'll comment down below and share my video. Okay, enough chatting. Let's get over to my craft table and I'll show you what I've been working on. Thanks so much for watching. All right, to get started on my first project, I am going to use this canvas that I got at Dollar Tree. It does have some sequins on it, so I'm going to brush off the sequins to begin before I paint it. And then I'm going to paint it with my, these are the napkins that I'm going to use. I got these at Walmart. I think I paid about $2.27 for them. They're only 2-ply. So I'm going to paint it first with my Waverly white chalk paint, and I'm going to be using this satin Mod Podge to do all my Mod Podging throughout this entire video. So it has some little sequins on it, so I'm going to be using my sanding block here to get the sequins off. And then I'm going to paint the whole thing with my white chalk paint just because I think it's easier to decoupage on top of the white chalk paint. I'm going to do the whole thing and the sides. So then I'm going to put a light coat of the Mod Podge on using a foam brush. And then starting at the top, I'm going to, of course, separate the napkin. And I'm going to take the Mickey Mouse face and center it, starting at the top, down the canvas, covering the sides and the top. And you can see where the bottom, there's some open space, so I'm going to take some leftover of the stripe and put that to cover the bottom. So first I'm just laying the Mickey Mouse face down there, and I'm going to decoupage the napkin down, starting at the top, a section at the time, making sure that the napkin covers the top and the sides. And then I very carefully make the stripes match at the bottom to cover the bottom, which in the very end didn't really matter at all. But I still did it because I did, you never know how things are going to turn out. So I'm putting the big piece on first, section by section, and then you'll see I do it around the edges to make sure it covers the edges real nicely. I'm pressing the napkin out gently from the center out to try and get as many of the bubbles out and creases out as I can, but I'm not a perfectionist. It's supposed to look handmade. So I'm getting the sides down, and then I'm going to trim off the napkin from the top, get it sealed down at the top. And I do want that to look nice because it's not going to be framed. It's going to be raw. Okay, so I'm doing all that. I'm going to trim off the corners. And then I'm not showing you, but I get the bottom covered with the stripes very carefully to make sure they match, and then it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to give a light coat of decoupage over the top. And I do that to every project. And I don't necessarily tell you that, but after I get done putting the first layer down, I go over and give a light coat over the first coat. So now I'm going to take the leftover stripes and do the bottom. So waste not, want not. I'm going to use what's left over from the first napkin. And I'm matching that up so it really looks like it's all one piece. which of course it didn't because I'm working with the napkins, so there were some bubbles and things, but I wasn't going to worry about it, and as it turned out, I didn't need to worry about it. So I'm just piecing it together, and if you're a seamstress, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm trying to do it in as few pieces as I can, but I had to use 2 pieces actually. All right, so then I had these self-sealing letters. So see, I put a picture down there, and I cut off the baby's head. This is our 2-year-old grandson. And I glued the picture down, trying to make it look like the baby was wearing the Mickey Mouse hat. Okay, and so it didn't matter about those bottom stripes because the picture, the bottom stripes, but I wanted it to look like the baby was wearing the Mickey Mouse hat. And you'll see a better picture of that in the final reveal. Okay, so now we're ready to go on to decoupage project number 2. And you can see there our new kitten Sienna was trying to help me, and she's still trying to help me as I do this voiceover. Okay, so I have this frame, 4x6 frame that I got at Dollar Tree. I'm going to use this napkin from the same package, only this time I'm just going to use the stripes. And again, I'm using the same satin Mod Podge. So I'm going to put a light coat of Mod Podge on the picture frame down one side and across the top, and I've separated the napkin into 1 ply, and so I'm going to put one of the long stripes down the one side and the attached short stripe across the top. And then when I get that on, and I want to make sure it covers the top and the sides, and so that's what I'm trying to do, is make sure it covers the sides and the top, because that's going to show. So I'm getting it all situated on there. And then when I get that all on, then I'm going to have to cut out the inside of the napkin and make sure the sides are down real nice and the top is down, well, the sides are down real nicely and tight. And then I'll cut out the inside of the napkin and use the other long, well, then I have to use another napkin because the napkin only has one long side. And so then I'll do the other long side and the bottom and get that all on. And then, of course, I go back and do another light coat of decoupage. Now, these projects took me several days, so everything dried for a couple days before I went back and finished. So what you're seeing took several days, and I let it dry for several days. And then I trimmed everything with real small scissors to make sure it was all tight against the frame. All right, so then when I'm finished, I have the picture frame all finished, and there you see it, okay? Then I simply put a picture, I said grandson, he's our great-grandson, he's turning 2. I put a picture in, and there's the cat helping me again, and that's a picture of our great-grandson who's turning 2 this month. So this is part of his birthday gift, which is really more for his mom and dad than for him. All right, so let me introduce our hosts. First is Emily from Farm Charm Chic, and our guest host, Buffy from Buffy Designs, for our 5 under $5 with our theme, Decoupage Decor. Now, I'll be sure and link their channels down below in the description box, and you will definitely want to visit their channels of these 2 very talented creators, and they will have the major playlist of all the talented creators who are joining in today. Now, please visit both Emily and Buffy and view their videos, and don't forget to give them a thumbs up and make a comment. And when you view all the other talented creators, be sure and give them a thumbs up and a comment. And I know they would love it if you would subscribe to their channels too. That really helps our channels grow and everyone would appreciate it. Okay, so Emily from Farm Charm Chic, which I always have a hard time saying that, and Buffy from Buffy's Designs, thank you so much for letting me join in today. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you all will come back and visit both Emily and Buffy and all the other talented creators who are joining in for Decoupage Decor. Okay, so taking a different twist, Grumpy Grandpa, that's my husband, his birthday is coming up and we're going to have a couple couples over for birthday cake and coffee. So I decided I was going to do some things for a centerpiece. So this is a charger plate that I got at Dollar Tree. Again, I'm using the white chalk paint and the satin Mod Podge. And these are napkins that, again, I got at Walmart for like $2. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the center of the charger plate, only the center. And I'm going to use those pretty napkins for today decoupage. They're 2-ply. I've taken the plies apart. I'm going to use the top ply. And I've put a thin layer of Mod Podge down. And I'm simply going to lay the napkin over the top of the charger plate and put the napkin onto the center of the charger plate, one section at a time, trying to smooth it from the center out to the outer corners. The circle doesn't have corners, but to the outer part of the circle. And then when I get that all done, I'm going to put a light coat of Mod Podge on top of it, and then I'm going to put it aside and let it dry. And since I did this over a number of days, it dried for a number of days, which may have been a bit of a problem because it really dried for a long time. Then when I took the paper off, it had really dried. So some of it tore a little bit. So I took a skinny white brush and touched it up around the edges with my white chalk paint. I don't think you're going to see it because I have a really white glass cake stand that I'm going to put on top of it, and then I'll have a pretty cake made because I'm not much of a baker, and the cake will go on the glass cake stand. So I don't really think anything that where the tissue tore that was just around the edge is going to be noticed. With the glass cake stand and then the pretty cake on top, it's not going to be really noticeable. So I'm going to go with it. Besides, you know the men are going to be more interested in eating the cake than the cake platter. Okay, so on to the next decoupage project, which is for the party. My timing is really off on this one. I'm sorry, but the kitten keeps jumping up on my lap. At least that's my excuse. So I have this real pretty vase that I got from Dollar Tree. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to paint it white with that chalk paint, and then I'm going to use that satin Mod Podge. But first I'm going to clean it off. I'm going to use those same napkins. I'm going to clean it off with alcohol and a cotton pad in case there's any newsprint on it being wrapped up and fingerprints or oil from my fingers on it, because I want it to be clean so that the paint will adhere to it. And after I clean it off, I'm going to paint it with that white chalk paint. And then I am going to going section by section, I'm going to put Mod Podge on it and start putting the napkin on it. And I'm not really going to worry about how the pattern on the napkin is an overall pattern. So I'm just going to start putting the napkin on it. And, I'm wrapping a flat piece of napkin around a round piece of glass. So wherever it goes. And you'll see what I do in just a minute. I'm going to make sure it goes over the top of the vase and inside and over the bottom of the vase. And then I'm just going to simply rip off the top and the bottom napkin that's left over. And then I'll use that, the part that's ripped off, to fill in the empty spots. So you can see I'm just laying it against the vase and patting it down and, trying to smooth it out as best I can. Again, I'm not a perfectionist and I'm not really that good at decoupage. So I'm just laying it around section by section, a little bit at a time. And, trying to fold it, lay it out without tearing the napkin. And so I just keep going around the napkin, making sure I have some to go over the top and around the bottom. And not paying any, there is no pattern on the napkin. It's just an all-over design, which is why I like it. Okay, so now I've got some on the bottom. All right, so now I'm just taking pieces that were left over. I'm patting down the part that was on the bottom because I want it to go all the way down over the bottom. I don't want anything not down over the bottom. Not that anybody's going to pick it up and look at it. But so I'm going to make that all down. I'm going to make sure it's down over the top of the vase. And now I got that big open spot, but I got plenty of, I've got a whole package of napkins, but I've got a whole big piece there laying that I tore off, waste not, want not. So I'm going to use that to fill in that big empty space. Take a little bit of Mod Podge, lay it down, then I'm just going to lay that big piece of napkin that I have left, tear it apart, lay it on. Torn edges of the napkin fill in really nicely. Then I'm going to go over with the Mod Podge and make sure all the edges are laying down real nicely. And then I let it dry. It was a couple days till I got back to it. There were other things going on in the family. So I made sure the edges were laid down, and then I took my small scissors and trimmed everything off. Made sure everything was laying down really nice, smoothed out the edges as much as I could. Then after it had dried for a couple days, I went over it again just to make sure everything was laying down. You'll see all that in the final reveal. So on to DIY number 5. So I got this little gold pail at Walmart for $1. And I got some pictures of Grumpy Grandpa, my husband, whose birthday it's going to be. And I just cut out some little pictures. And so I thought, I'm going to decoupage these pictures onto that pail. Well, we all know flat pictures, even if they're a little pliable, do not decoupage well onto round objects. So I tried that. Of course, it didn't work. So I ended up just decoupaging the tops and the bottoms of the pictures. So they're 3D. Wasn't I clever? So I decoupaged the pictures using just the decoupage at the top and the bottom of the pictures on. And then, I worked to get those things on the round pail. That didn't work. Logic tells you that just isn't going to work, even though I tried. So I just got the tops and the bottoms attached on. And then I got my clips. We all have those clips. When in doubt, use a clip. I got my clips and I clipped the bottoms, or the tops rather, of the pictures to the pail. Let those dry for a couple days. They were good and dry. Until the pictures were good and dry. And that worked just fine. I put a little bit of Mod Podge underneath the pictures to try and hold them on. But I put those clips on. See there? Held just fine. So after a couple days, which it probably didn't take that long, I just didn't get back to it for a couple days, took the clips off, and there was the little pails. And what I'm going to do is I just stuck some candy in there that I have, but I'm going to put some, candy in there, some little mints and things to go on the table. And that's how that looked. And that's the end of all the projects. So now let's look at the final reveal. Decoupage final reveal. So the first thing we're looking at is the Mickey Mouse things with our great-grandson wearing the Mickey Mouse hat. that says who's to, and then the picture frame with his picture in it, which of course I think he's just adorable. And next up is the vase that, and I just put some fake tulips in there and some gold beads, but I'll have fresh flowers for the actual party. Then the serving platter, the charger platter that I'll have the cake stand on with the cake. And then the little gold pail, which will have the mints in them with his pictures around them. And then finally the full set that would go in the middle of the dining room table with the charging platter with the cake stand that'll be on it, the vase, which will have flowers in it, and the little pail that'll have mints in it. And that's the end of my 5 DIYs for $5. Please comment below which was your favorite. And thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again very soon at Nona's Here. Bye.